Welcome back to Knitters Gotta Eat. This is the segment where we're going to talk gardening. We're going to talk about successes we've had and massive failures that we've had in both gardening, vegetables and fruit. So Stephanie, do you want to get started with things that you maybe like to grow?
Sure. Well, just so you all know, we are in the North Texas area, and growing things here is not always easy.
No.
You would think it would be easy because
Right.
we have fairly mild weather for a good
Right.
amount of the year.
We have a very short span of very hot weather in the summer.
Yes. Well, it's not
Um,
always very short.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
2 months, 3 months.
We had that
Come on
100
now.
days, over 100.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that.
So, but we do have, we have 2 growing seasons?
I don't think we do. Well, it depends. If we're having a
depends.
good year, we do, and we can plant some fall crops. But
It's
sometimes
tricky.
it is, because it can still be too hot by September to really
Yes.
get stuff to grow, or it can freeze in the middle of October
And just kill everything.
Yes. So it depends. You really take your chances if you want to do the fall gardening. So mostly I like to stick with spring gardening, and then if I feel like growing something in the fall, I might give it a try. But I always know that it's probably not going to turn out.
Yeah. Pretty much for us, for me, it's always a gamble because I'm still pretty new at gardening. My mother is like the queen of flower gardening.
Oh, wow.
She loves flower plants and bushes, and she did tomatoes every year growing up. But that was pretty much it as far as growing edibles. And when we moved, because we're kind of in the pseudo country.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pseudo country.
It is.
It's not the real country.
We pretend like it is, but it's not.
It's the pseudo country. We, when we bought our house, we were like, oh, this is great. We can have a garden. And the first year we lived there, we planted like crazy. And the only thing that grew was spinach and carrots.
Wow.
And actually, we had a lot of really good spinach and a lot of really good carrots.
Right.
But nothing else really took. And every year, I never know what it's going to do.
Mhm.
And we put a lot of money into it. And so this year, I said, I'm not growing stuff. And we didn't till up the garden. I just said, I don't want to put the money into it. I planted 3 tomato plants, which I have two little cherry tomatoes right now.
Yes.
And evidently my daughters planted zucchini plants this year for me.
Nice.
And they're growing. It's the first year my zucchini has grown.
Okay, so maybe your daughters need to plant.
They need to plant for me.
They're the ones
This
who
is
do
the
it,
plan. Mm-hmm.
and that will work.
So vegetable gardening is just hit and miss for me.
Well, wow.
So what do you do?
Well, I grew up with a mom who was a farm girl, and we had a very small little house in town and small yard, but we always had a garden. She always did green beans, tomatoes, squash, yellow squash, sometimes carrots, sometimes cucumbers, just depending on how she felt and how much space there was. And so those are the things that I still grow, and I feel like if I don't have green beans in the garden in the spring, I'm gonna die. And that's irrational, I know that, but it's just something that you get used to, and they're so delicious when they come out of your own garden. I always plant them, and it never fails up here since we moved to North Texas, because I grew up in South Texas, that we get a freeze. And my little green bean plants die.
Oh.
And I have to replant them, and I go out there and I cuss and I replant them, and I get something at least. And usually it's just enough to make me sick of green beans and I never want to eat them again. And so I also put in tomatoes and yellow squash, and the yellow squash, some years we get a lot of it, and other years we get the squash bugs. And they are just disgusting. They're the scourge of the garden. You cannot get rid of them. I like to do organic gardening. I'm not really good at organic pest control though, so
It's hard.
I'm not sure what to put
Right.
on them to get rid of the squash bugs. I've tried a few things and it just doesn't work. Other things that I like to grow are storage crops, like garlic and onions, because I use them a lot when I cook. And garlic is something that up here in North Texas we put in at the end of October. Just every year at the end of October, I have it in my brain, I've got to get that garlic in. I have to dig the weeds out. I have to get the garlic in. And last year was really depressing because we had a drought. This year we've had a lot of rain and the garlic is beautiful. I can't wait to harvest it. And the onions are perfect this year too. So that's really exciting for me. But with, I've talked about growing tomatoes. I don't have a whole lot of success with them.
Oh, okay.
The cherry tomatoes or the little tiny pear tomatoes, they're great. But big tomatoes, they don't set, or they don't get big enough, or I don't know. I'm really bad at tomatoes.
Yeah. Most of my tomatoes, the little critters
Yes.
come and
The
take
mockingbirds.
a little bite.
The mockingbirds here, they come and they sit on your tomato plant and they go tick, 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 tick on your tomatoes. And it depends on how you feel about mockingbird germs. If you want to eat it anyway, you get out there and you pick it and you wash it and you eat it anyway. But it's really frustrating with the birds.
Right.
Yeah.
My husband and I have been discussing if we ever do, really retake up the gardening, doing some kind of an enclosure, netting or something to keep those critters out. And I don't know. It's he really likes to learn from his mistakes. And so it's going to take us planning a huge garden and having
years.
tons of stuff ready to go and having it all be eaten before we're probably going to get the enclosure.
Yeah, I know.
But this year has been so weird with the rain, and we've had a lot of storms here in North Texas.
Yeah.
And usually by now it is so hot that your beans are little sizzled up,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure they're going like crazy still.
I don't have any set on because I didn't get them in the ground early enough. My fault. Too many papers to grade, I guess. But they are starting to go, and I'm excited. Until they've been going for about a month, then I won't be excited anymore because that's just too much.
Well, and this year I'm kicking myself because of all the rain.
Yes.
I didn't plant, and we could have had.
Right. Well, we've been through 2 years of drought.
Yes, or
And
more.
You have to understand this, viewers. It's been very frustrating. So unless you're willing to really water everything every day, you're not going to get anything.
And I think that has been my problem.
Right.
Is our home is on a well, and we try to self-regulate the well water because if there's a drought, our well is going to drop along with everybody else's water, and so I'll try to water as little as possible, and obviously I water too little, and so it all just kind of freaks out.
I definitely have that same problem with watering too little, mostly because, I don't know, I think I'm just lazy. I really don't understand it, but I feel like also when you water, for whatever reason, it's not as good as rain. Like, you can water every day, but it's still not going to set tomatoes, or it's still not going to set green beans. It's just very frustrating for me. So I think that's why I've given up on the whole watering situation. But this year, not a problem.
Right. I mean, I think I just really have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
In general, about vegetable gardening, and I
Right.
want to be good at it so desperately, but
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
it is. Do you have any resources that
I
you
do.
perhaps looked at?
Now, as a new, I'm actually originally from Georgia, near Atlanta, and so when I came to Texas, I thought, I want to grow stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really know a lot about Texas weather, so
Right.
I got this gardening in Texas month by month, and this is actually a really good resource. It's Dan Gill and Dale Groom, and it's not necessarily organic. It is just, this is what you do,
Right.
this is when you do it, this is what you look for, and it goes through every type of plant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just very general, really good for somebody that just starting from blank.
Right.
Look, I bought a house.
Right.
Now what do I do?
bought a house in a strange part of the country.
Yeah.
Now what do I do?
I know,
have a garden.
and look, I've been in that house for 9 years, and I still don't know what to do. And then this one is one of my really favorites, and this is the Backyard Homestead, and this one's a really popular book. So if you've looked at books like this, you have probably seen this book. And it tells you all of the things you can do with your land. And I mentioned before that we have chickens, but we don't necessarily want to be
Right.
we don't want to be self-sustaining. We don't think that's a possibility for us at this
Right.
point. But I love to know where my food is coming from,
Mm-hmm.
whenever possible. So this book tells you, it's basically like the other one where it goes through every type of plant, most of the types of livestock you can have, and the basics of how you do it, what you do. And we pull that out anytime we have just a general, I wonder what we should do about that. So when the Google search fails, you pull
Sometimes
out
does, yeah.
It does, yes.
The only resource that I've ever used is not a book, but it's the Texas A&M horticulture website.
Yes.
They have a bunch of guides for home gardeners as far as when you should plant different crops, how to go about preparing the soil and planting them and doing everything that you need to do, what time of year, all the stuff you need to know is on their website.
And they also, they have a list of what are the best types
Yes.
of each type of plant for your area.
Right.
And it's just Texas, I think.
Yes.
So sorry. I'm so sorry if you're not in Texas. It's probably a good thing gardening wise.
Maybe you have a university in your state that does the same thing.
Right.
Their horticulture program. So go check it out. Go look.
Yes, and I found it very helpful because I looked at that Baker Creek seed catalog.
Mhm.
Have you looked at that?
Yes.
And they have so many different types of seeds, and it's just so overwhelming.
Right.
And I could go compare the list and be like, oh, this is supposed to grow. Did any of them grow?
No.
But it
We
was
don't have to talk
helpful,
about that.
and it gave me hope that the zucchini is growing.
The zucchini is going.
The
Look
zucchini
at
is
that.
growing the second year.
Oh my goodness.
Oh well. So what else do we need to talk about?
Let's talk about some fruit.
Okay.
Perhaps some fruit trees.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, maybe it was 4 years ago, I got really gung-ho on the fruit trees, and I said, we're going to do this. We have an acre in the pseudo country, and we are going to plant fruit trees.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did that.
How'd it go?
Well, you know what? I had a lot of Asian pears last year, and that was it. And this year, looks like I'm going to have a lot of Asian pears again.
Nice.
And maybe 10 peaches, maybe 10.
If the critters don't get them.
Yeah, if the birds don't get to them before I get the tree covered.
Yeah.
So it's not been going very well for me. I'm very frustrated. I do have some fig trees that do wonderfully. So that's the one thing I can recommend. They're easy, and if you don't mind something that bushes out, because they like to go wild, but they're wonderful. Fig trees they take care of themselves. But
Now,
that's the only luck I've had.
It's funny that Joy says that fig trees are awesome
Oh my.
because I heard this. I heard that fig trees were awesome, and I saw them. I saw them being awesome.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, we need fig trees.
Mhm.
So we planted 2 last year, and they both died, completely
Oh,
gone,
wow.
nothing left.
Whoa.
And
Maybe we need to talk about where you got your fig trees
and we're going to have to talk about that because I think I got them from the wrong place.
Yeah.
But so I really want to grow figs, and
Yeah.
we have an acre as well. We have space,
Mm-hmm.
and but we have several fruit trees. And when we first moved into our house, the previous owner were really big on the gardening and the fruit trees, and so we have a massive, I think it's like a Bartlett pear.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
They're harder. They don't get real soft, but it's humongous. And about every other year, we have just hundreds of pears.
Wow.
Like an insane amount of pears. And the sad thing is this pear tree is getting old.
Mm.
And fruit trees in Texas
Yeah.
definitely have a lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw it because we had 2 plum trees as well. And within the first 2 years that we lived in our house, the one plum tree
Right.
completely dead from the borers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I had that happen too
Yeah.
last year.
And then our other one just looks so old that it gets, a few plums on it and then it,
Right.
nothing. So we planted another we had a peach that died as well because they were all very old.
Yes.
Because they had been planted, years. Our house was built in the early 70s. So we planted the 2 fig trees, which died. We planted another, and I'm still sad about that.
Yes.
We planted a pear tree, which is doing really well,
Mhm.
and it is so pears in North Texas.
Apparently, you need to.
Plant pears, but we planted the pear tree in our chicken yard.
Oh, really?
Because it's like automatic compost, and it's doing great. And then we planted another peach, which we need to do another peach sometime. But all our neighbors have fruit trees, so we get a lot of cross-pollinating from neighbors, which is nice. And ours do okay. They're not, but they're still very young.
Mm-hmm.
We have the ancient.
The ancient pear and then.
And then we have the young, which are,
Right.
young. So.
Yeah. So if you live in North Texas and you have a pear tree, you need recipes. That's my only advice.
I still have pears. I think they say 2012
Oh no.
in my deep freezer down at the very bottom. They actually still taste okay. But I need to eat them before I get more pears.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I have a feeling with all the rain, this is going to be a big pear year.
Yes.
I don't even know. It's got to be at least 100 set on this tree that's only 4 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's going to be overwhelming.
Wow. So what about berries? Have you done berries?
I have done berries. I have struggled with strawberries. I have no idea which varieties have flourished and which have died because I can never keep up with the tags, and I've had to move them. So last year I had a bumper crop of strawberries. I had to dig them out and I put them back in this year. I'm thinking I might get 2 or 3 strawberries. Things are not looking good. They're not. I'm not sure. I have a friend who's got a strawberry cart that she plants them in the cart and moves it around with the sunshine and the shade. Yes.
Does that work?
It seems like a lot of work, but yes, it works for her.
Huh.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I might try that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, I've never done strawberries.
Well, I tried blueberries as well,
Mm-hmm.
and they died.
Mm-hmm.
I've-
A lot of things die.
yeah, I've got a blackberry. It's not ever done really well, but maybe this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping maybe this year. Yeah.
We put in 3 blackberries along our fence line, the thornless
Mm-hmm.
blackberries, and I'm not really sure what type they are other
Right.
than that because the tags.
I know.
I need to get better at taking notes.
And when you have kids, those tags,
Oh my
they
gosh.
disappear.
It's like trading cards. They want
Yes.
them. They just want them.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. So this is our 3rd year with those blackberry
Yeah.
bushes, and they're huge. Like they've really exploded.
Well, have you ever gotten blackberries?
They are covered
Okay.
right now
Right.
with the little green ones.
Mhm.
And last year we had a few, but I think the birds ate
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And this year, I mean, they are just covered.
Mhm. Yeah, so is mine. My one that's
Yeah.
alive. Yeah.
So I don't know if we need to net them or
That is what I would do.
Yeah.
I've got some bird netting. I plan on putting it on there as soon as they start looking juicy, because it will be the mockingbirds,
Mhm.
and I will catch them out there.
and we have a ton of birds. A ton of birds.
And the mockingbirds are so hungry.
They're all just though I have cats that have actually like
Mhm. Good.
taken down some birds. So
We probably shouldn't talk about the state bird like that.
okay, not a mockingbird.
Other birds.
Not a mockingbird.
We don't know what kind. Maybe they were pigeons.
I didn't know that was the state bird. I'm transplants.
Oh,
Transplants.
no. Delete that part.
But I'm really excited about the blackberries, and I'm
Yes.
really hoping that they come through because that's one of those like childhood memories
Mhm.
of mine is picking berries from like these wild
Yeah.
berry bushes that just went crazy.
Yeah. We don't get to do that around here.
I know, and I just really want my kids to, and I want to experience it again.
Yes.
Like, not only do I want them to experience, I want to do it, go
Mhm.
pick them and eat them.
It's for selfish reasons.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's just so fun, and it makes me cry how much stuff I've killed.
Yeah, we'll set up gravestones for them. So I think it'll be really interesting to see in a couple of months exactly how our gardens
Yes, we will.
have fared.
We will come back. I wonder how much zucchini I'm gonna have.
Yeah.
I'm really
Exactly.
I'm excited about the zucchini. Though I think I put my tomatoes in too shaded an area
Yeah.
because they do get some shade during the day, and I just really wanted them close to the house so that I would remember to water them. And now I don't need to
That's the
water them,
problem.
but now they're too close and they get too much shade and they're not growing fast enough. So
Well, maybe when it's 100 degrees outside this summer,
they'll be happy.
they'll get a little shade, a little bit of respite.
So, do we want to end with what we would really like to grow, or
Well, this year I have a couple of wish crops that I put in my garden. They've come up, and I'm going to see what happens. I've got fennel and I've got rutabagas. And, oh yeah, don't make that face at rutabagas because you can slice them really thinly and saute them in butter. Put some salt and pepper on them. They are so good. So good. I know that butter is not supposed to be good for you.
it's
but
good for you.
we don't need to talk about that
Eat butter.
because rutabagas are delicious. And the fennel, my husband loves fennel, fried together with, this is really healthy also, Italian sausage and some pasta mixed in, nice little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to see
That sounds
if they
nice.
turn out good.
Invite me over. Well, I kind of have a spot picked out, but there are several herbs that are supposed to be kind of perennial right here in Texas. And I would love to have one of those like quilters herb garden where you
Yeah.
have like the big sections of each
Right.
one. And that's kind of my dream. And I don't know if it's going to happen because I kill everything. but I've seen them at different places, and I say, wouldn't that be nice to
Yeah.
like walk out the back door, grab your rosemary, we've killed
It would
2
be very
rosemary
nice.
plants.
I have one that is about 10 years old that is, it's about gone.
yeah,
Yeah. I couldn't make it live through that drought, and so,
yeah,
but don't let that deter you.
Well, that and the things that deter mosquitoes, like the lemongrass
Right.
and the lavender. I'd like to plant some of that around our back patio. So, and
it would
that's
smell good.
yes. So that's not really an edible. I mean, lemongrass is, but those are some things that I want to work on. So I'm going to work on those things.
Sounds good. I want to see this happen.
So, but if we ever have some like garden bounty,
Yes.
we'll show you.
Yeah.
We'll share. And please let us know what you like to grow.
Yes.
If you're in Texas, tell us what works.
Give us some help.
I really want to know. I want to be able to garden.
Yes. I think I think a lot of people want to.
And you are much more successful than you come across.
I am, and that's just because we trucked in dirt and put it in a raised bed garden.
Mhm.
That is the only thing that has made anything happen out there.
Yes.
So it's kind of cheating. I feel like it's cheating, but
Well, you do what you gotta do.
yeah.
So, well, thank you all for joining us, and please check out our blog, knittersgottaeat.blogspot.com.
Very good.
And you can follow us on Instagram. We're always posting pictures of our stuff.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Thank you. Bye.